Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netters Network Thursday Things, where I have a special guest waiting in the wings that I'll be introducing you to shortly. But before then, I need to introduce you to my partner in crime, that guy at the end of the bar, the love of my life, Troy Pacelli. How you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
I'm doing so much better now that you're home. I've missed you so much, my lovely. I'm drinking a zero sugar grapefruit soda.
I am actually two-fisting it. I have a Rockstar Pure Zero energy drink because I've had a very persistent headache that does not want to go away. And I've also got water. And what Troy's referring to, the blue ones.
Okay.
He's giving me aspirin. Well,
Advil?
Is it?
I don't know. Whatever
no, it's
the
not
blue
Advil.
pills are.
It's, oh, shit, I can't think of it.
Some sort of ibuprofen? I don't know.
I'll think of it when I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, it's not Advil. Advil's the little brown ones. These ones are blue. And it's like, I can kind of picture the little packet, but I can't clearly see the name in my brain. But
they're sharing blue pills. Yes, exactly.
They're not that kind of little blue pill. Otherwise, we wouldn't be streaming right now.
Well, yeah. Well, if we were, we'd probably be on a different stream. Or a different platform.
Yep. Only old folks.
Oldie folks. Yeah, exactly.
So what Troy's referring to is that the last 2 days I've been at a work event. So instead of being here during the day for my regular work day, I've been in the nearby suburbs, and we've had the 2-day, what they call it, the all hands meeting is what they're calling it. So day
all hands
one,
waste of time.
Yeah, it was, the first day was boring as all get out. But they, I can't type. I wanted to say hello to somebody. I was typing the wrong name. Okay. First day, they went through all the rah-rahs of, this is how great our company is doing, and this is how much revenue we've brought in, and, this is offset by, we did have some things that didn't do as well as other things, but overall, we're this positive and da-da-da with, financially. And then going through having a speaker to motivate us and talk about how we can, control certain change in our lives, and there are certain things you can't control, so you have to concentrate on things you can control. I mean, yeah, it was a big rah-rah session. So pretty much bored to tears the entire day. But the food was good. They served us breakfast and lunch, and it was really good. And then for last night, after we finished the session for the day, my boss was like, hey, to our team, can y'all, meet for a drink, kind of decompress after the day and just, have a quick hangout. And, excuse me. I'm like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. So I texted Troy, let him know I wasn't coming home right away. So he wasn't worried that my Lyft driver had absconded with me or something. And I think I ended up leaving there somewhere around 7. So it's like I didn't get home until 7:30 or so. And so he literally had not seen me for well over 12 hours. So then today we get there, and they started off with, a little bit of rah-rah, but then they decided to do breakout sessions. And they're like, okay, what we're going to do is you're going to scan this QR code, and you're going to put in there something that you feel you can teach someone else, because we could all teach someone something. And then from there, now we have about 300 people in the audience. So they're like, from there, we're going to break it down to about 30. And then from the 30, we're going to break it down further to 8. And then we're going to have 8 breakout classes. Well, someone decided to put in there how to hide a dead body. And it was 52% of the votes, or the votes were for this class. So it's like, after a little bit of back and forth with the presenter and some of the other staff, they're like, okay, you know what? We can't do that. And if you actually have hidden a dead body, we didn't do a thorough enough background check on you. And I'm thinking, yeah. In fact, I actually said to the girl sitting next to him, I'm like, Yeah, I could tell you they didn't because I used to work for the background screening company that does the background screens for our company. But it was like the classes were ended up being something. I'm not going to remember them all, but there was one on how to train your cat. There was one on wine tasting, even though there's no wine to taste. Um, there was one on like home maintenance and things you don't think of, like make sure you're changing the filter on your furnace like every 3 months because they get really dirty, and things like that. The class I took was jiu-jitsu. The One of the sales managers, she does kickboxing and all this stuff, and she competes. And so it's like, okay, this is gonna be kind of cool. So she decided to show us some basic jujitsu. Well, her boss, who thinks he's all that in a bag of chips, and he's a super nice guy, he really is. But he's one of those guys where it's like, I'm very macho, and it's like, yeah, Chris, you're a nice guy, but you're really, you're not really the macho man that when I think of that. But he just, he's a bigger guy, like bigger, like in not like heavy set, but just kind of like he's not really muscular, but he's kind of like in between kind of thing. He decided to be her attack dummy or whatever. So while she's trying to show us how to do these basic moves, he was the one that she demonstrated on. Well, the first time she's showing us the stuff, it was going pretty smoothly, and it was like to plan. As we're getting closer to the end of the class, she goes, okay, I'm going to go through the entire thing I just showed you. Instead of going slowly, I'm going to just go do it. And I'm going to, show you the whole thing beginning to end. So she goes to attack this her boss from behind. And the first move is putting him in a bear hug. So his arms are trapped. And then he's got to do a move to get out of that. And then he's supposed to take her down. Well, when he got out of the bear hug, she reversed it and knocked him down because you can do a reverse move. So for every move, there's always a reverse move. You just got to know what it is. So she gets him down on the ground. He flips her over, pins her down. She flips him again and gets him down. And they were going back and forth like 2 or 3 times, pinning each other. And we're just cracking up because they're just determined that I'm going to be the one that wins this. Until they finally just like conceded, got up, shook hands and all this. But we got video of it. I can't wait to see the actual video of this because it's too funny. So it's like the class was really fun to do. So we actually had a lot of fun on the second day. And so when we came back from the classes, we were all up on the fun high for the rest of the afternoon. So I got home. I showed Troy what I learned. He's so proud of me.
I am proud.
Because I could do like one move in jiu-jitsu on how to defend myself. So it's like, yeah, he and today we got a little bit earlier. So I got out, actually I got out about like 3:45 or so. But by the time my Lyft driver got to me, I didn't get home until about 4:30. But it's like, yeah, it was a shorter day. But he still had not seen me all day long. So for 2 days, he couldn't come up to my office and get netter hugs because he does that frequently during the day. Mm-hmm. It's our thing. And so he's really glad that this 2-day work event is over. And tomorrow I'll be back in my regular place in my office. So that's the whole story. Before I introduce my guest, let me say a quick hello to the chat. So, of course, first we got this, last call guy. Mm-hmm. Saying, I love live stream with Nerd's Network. I missed your last 2 days. Mm-hmm. We have Big Al Presents saying hello to everyone. We have Fluff Chick Productions saying hello to everyone. And then her alter ego, Connie Clary, mm-hmm. the bird women of YouTube. Let's see. I know I saw their names here. The lovely Lady Myst dropping her hearts and flowers for me. How you doing, sweetie? Evelyn Hampton, how you doing, Admiral? Basco Scenario. Wow, that name sounds really familiar. I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
We have Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. Jesse Guajardo. Hi, sweetie. See if anyone snuck in since I said my last hello. Yep, Disney Sheepherder, how you doing, sweetie? Deleted scenes. Hi, sweetie. How you doing? And that brings me to the bottom of my chat. So now that we've said hello to the chat and we've said hello to my co-host, let's say hello to our special guest for tonight. So I bring you the Basco scenario. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
Uh, where I come from, we call it uru, which is water.
Oh, okay. And now,
Simple.
where are you from?
Well, my parents are from the Basque country in northern Spain and southern France, so that's why my name Gaiscar is really fucked up. Growing up with that name was not easy. Absolutely wasn't. It was like, well, how do you say that? Gay scar, a gas car, or what is that? I'm like, it's pronounced like a guy's car. So that's how it's all.
Oh, that's an easy way to remember it.
Guy's
now,
car.
does it have a meaning?
Yeah, it means liberator.
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's based. I like that. Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Basque people are like the indigenous people of Europe.
And is that
language is like completely not attached to any language of Europe?
And does that relate to the name of your channel, or is that just coincidence?
Kind of, sort of. It does. Like when I came up, like it's been 3 years I've been on YouTube, and when I came on YouTube, I didn't know I was gonna actually do this on a weekly basis, and actually it was like therapeutic during the coof.
Oh yeah.
So you know, a lot of us, you know, especially here in Canada, that's where I live. You know, in Canada, like we had like curfews and, you know, Trudeau and his high horse, you know.
Yeah, we thought we had it bad, but on the other side of the maple curtain there, you guys had it terrible.
It's like,
it was
in the US, even we hate Trudeau.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, because you know a lot of them hate Trump too. So I mean, whatever.
I don't hate anybody. You know, so sometimes the things that come out of people's mouths are like, "He said what now?" Things like that. But listen, politics aside, is, you know, I hate Trudeau. Trump, I don't hate Trump. I don't.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's just that sometimes the things he says that comes out of his mouth is like, okay, he should sometimes stick to the speeches, but oh man, he wings it. And as a business, you have to admit it. The economy was a lot better when Trump was in power. So
here's the thing, you know, I don't care, you know, what you think politically or which side you're on or, you know, who you like.
100%.
Just objectively speaking about political personalities in general, the presidents that are the most popular tend to be the one that go off the script, that just talk from the heart, you know, because people can kind of tell, you know. I mean, you know, some people have deluded themselves into going, oh, he's one of us. No, he's not. He's rich. But Trump is the type who's like, yeah, I'm rich. You know, wouldn't you like to be rich? I mean, it's what we all strive for. That's the American way.
And he's the only president that I'm aware of. If there's another one, correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, because you would know. He's the only president, like I said, that I know of that gave up his salary.
Presidential salary, yeah.
Because he's like, you know, and I think he donated all to charity. Because he's like, you know, I don't need this.
I actually, in recent history, I don't know, but I definitely want to dive into the founding fathers, because, and this was something I was talking to somebody about the other day. You just look back at history. It used to be that to be a statesman, it was considered to be a service. You know, you were serving your country. You did it for a period of time, and then you were out. You didn't, you know, because let's face it, they had just, you know, fought a revolution against a king. They didn't want any more king.
Yeah, you bunch of traitors down there.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
I mess around like every Independence Day. I'm like, Happy Treason Day.
Yes, exactly right. But what's ironic about that is that now I'm starting to get political again. That, you know, the whole deep state uniparty thing, we may as well have a king again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you've got to, you know, this is why people keep saying term limits. Yeah. When you've got somebody, you know, in the legislature for 30 years, it's like, you know what? By the time they're drooling into a cup, maybe it's time that they retire and you move someone else in.
it's like Putin. Putin's been in power for God knows how long now, right? He's been there for
I
since
have,
when?
gosh, I don't even know, but I'll tell you, he's in better
Like
shape than most of our politicians. So
he's
it's really kind of hard to
uh,
give him any grief about his age.
I know that, but he's been like in power for
Oh yeah,
like, for so long. Like
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
like I think here is I think in Canada is like you can only serve 2 terms. I think.
Yeah, same here. The president can only serve 2 terms.
Yeah.
This is why we keep saying, well, why can't we do that with the legislature? Well, of course, they're not going to vote themselves out of a job. That's the
Yeah.
problem. You give them power and they don't give it up.
Yeah.
See, and
Absolute
Jesse's
power.
calling me on it. Troy trying to get into. I didn't intend to bring it up. I don't know.
Jesse Guajardo.
Jesse Guajardo, yeah.
Yeah.
You speak Spanish? I
Yes.
assume since
Yeah, I do.
you're
Yeah.
from, yeah.
I speak a few languages. I speak some broken Italian, Portuguese. I speak fluently after 2 bottles of wine. And I just say Portuguese people are people that, Spanish people that got pissed drunk and just settled in that side of the peninsula. Yeah.
My mom spoke a spattering of Portuguese because she for her high school trip she went and visited an uncle of hers in
Mm.
Brazil, and
Brazil. Yeah.
yeah, you pick up some
Mhm.
Portuguese, and
Oh,
the
sure.
only thing I remembered was muito obrigada, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
And I was working. I'm not going to say what company it was I was working for, but it involved phone work, and I was talking to clients. And one of the clients, we had to go through some documentation. She's from, I can't remember if she was from Brazil or if she was from Portugal. And as we were wrapping up the call, I said, "Okay, that's all I needed from you. Muito obrigada." And she's like, "Oh," and then she starts. I'm like, "I'm sorry, you just got the sum total of my Portuguese." She's like, "Oh, but you said it perfectly." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
I tried."
Yeah, I've always been like a chameleon because where I grew up in Montreal, Quebec, my parents immigrated to Canada in the
So you
60s.
have no choice but to speak French.
Yeah, exactly. Over here, there's like strict, crazy laws
Yes.
that is just amazing what they do with the language here.
Mhm.
But I've always been, my parents decided to stay because when they immigrated here, they immigrated in November. My mom was about to give birth to my sister. And he was in the plane looking down and he looks over to my mother and says, I don't know if it's snow or here in Canada, they paint their roofs white, you know? So he was like, apparently it was like about 4 feet of snow when they arrived.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like crazy. And they decided to stay because my father was like, they're going to learn Spanish at home
Mhm.
and they're going to learn English and French. And and I picked up other languages because of the community where my dad was. It was basically a melting pot. All the immigrants, that's the area that they go and live in. And there was Italian, Portuguese, and at one point I was the only white kid on my street. A lot of them were from Trinidad and Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, a lot of them from Nova Scotia, right, as well.
Mhm.
So it was like I grew up, yeah, mommy, I love some Jamaican patty, and talking like that and picking up the accents. And then in school with my Hindi friends and it was great. It was a childhood that I would not change because it opened my eyes to so many things. Right. And yeah, and the languages would just flow like Portuguese. There was this Portuguese social club that I
Mhm.
would go and hang out with some friends from the street and stuff. And Italians, well, there was a lot of the Italians when my parents got there. It was
Yeah.
basically it was very European. And then as the migration changed, the Italians that lived on the street moved to other areas of the city. And then it became, like I said, a lot from West Indies, Jamaica. And then after that, it's like a container ship just crashed in and a bunch of people from the Philippines came. And it was
Ah.
like, oh my God, and my daughter went to a Filipino daycare and she was coming home speaking Tagalog.
Wow.
So
There you
I was like,
go.
I remember telling you it was insane. I was like, one day she was playing with me and I'm like, she started looking at me. And she's like, Soca. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, Soca, the Calypso music? And she's like, all of a sudden, projectile vomit hit me, and I'm like,
oh.
And then when I brought her like to the daycare, like a couple of days later, and they called it was Lulu. Her Lourdes was her name, but they call her Lulu, right? The kids, and they call her Tita, like Auntie
Sure.
Yeah.
Lulu.
Mhm.
So when I saw her, I go, Tita Lulu, what does soca mean? Oh, guys, that means vomit. And I'm like, gotcha.
Great.
Yeah.
That would
So
have
she
been a
was
good
trying to
thing know
tell
then.
me that she
Yeah.
had to vomit, but she was speaking in Tagalog, which I had no clue.
The one
Absolutely
language you
nothing.
don't speak, right?
I was
Exactly.
like, I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, it's like something I actually left out on my earlier story, and it's kind of related to this. Is um, the Italians got a kind of a reputation for like the burying the dead bodies, right?
Yeah.
Yo, away.
Well, after we had the breakout classes when we came back, and each class had to kind of go up and talk about what they learned.
Yeah.
Every single one that went up managed to work in something about hiding the dead body. So, like for the home improvement one, it was, and if you lay down, a brand new cement foundation, it's a perfect place to hide that dead body and things like that. So when my group came up and they finished talking about, so this is how you can do some, simple self-defense. I said, and if you got to hide that dead body, I do got a vault in my name. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys, it's stereotypical, but it's like over here we have the Olympic Stadium that cost us a fortune, and we're still paying for it because they couldn't get the roof right. A lot of people were saying back in for when they were building the stadium that there's bodies in that foundation.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
Montreal had a huge mafia here, and it was like, hey man, I don't know. My father used to tell me, I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me if they blew that sucker down, that they would find dead bodies.
So here is the Italian, the humorous Italian aspect here.
Yeah.
Then we'll move on to something else. But so I took, in high school, you got to take a language. I figured Spanish was a logical one to take because a lot of Spanish speakers in the Chicagoland area. It's actually because the fastest growing language in the United States. So I'm like, okay, I'll learn some Spanish. I dropped out of my fourth year of Spanish because my grades were going steadily down. I started real good, but it was getting harder and harder. But I can get by pretty well with Spanish.
Yeah.
Never took Italian until I went to college, and I knew already. Okay, well, if I got a D my last year in Spanish, okay, let me just audit an Italian class so I could get the basics right. Problem is, it's as a Latin language, it's just close enough to Spanish. It was really messing my head up.
The grammar is completely different.
Yep.
It's the hardest. It's the hardest Latin grammar of all Latin. The Italian grammar is the hardest because I was crazy.
Here's another confounding factor for me. My family's Italian, right? My grandmother spoke Italian, but she never really used it. Dialect.
With the dialect.
Chicago Italian. Okay. Chicago Italians all drop the vowels at the end of most words. It's the same in with New York Italian. If you ever watch The Sopranos, you kind of get it.
Of course.
And
Jersey.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. For example, fried eggplant sandwich, right? In New York, they call it moulin. In Chicago, they call it moulin John. I mean, it's not a big difference, but it's enough for you to know New York versus Chicago, right? If I was to go to Italy and ask for a moulin sandwich, they'd have no idea what I was talking about. At least I don't think.
Yeah. Well, but it depends who you get, right? Somebody that knows that there's differences, then they'll know.
I had a great uncle who went to Italy and said, there were so many things he would say, and they would have no idea what he was talking about until he ran into someone from the United States. He go, oh, you mean such and such, such and such.
Whereabouts in Italy?
Well, my grandmother was from Naples. Well, not herself.
Napolitana.
Her father, her father was from Naples. My grandfather was his family was Genoese, so from Genoa. So, and that was the other
Noah salami.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. The Italian dialect for the two of them was just different enough.
Yeah.
But they didn't understand each other if they spoke Italian, so they just said, screw it, we'll just speak English. And You know, so I never really heard much of it. I got a lot of the swearing. I got a lot of the food. You
Right.
know.
That is something I take my hat off to my mother, because when I was younger and um, we were home eating, like my father wanted to practice his English and stuff like that. And my sister, she was 10 years older than me, so I would speak to her in English. So my dad and I and my sister were all talking Spanish, English at the table. And my mother only spoke Spanish and French, right? English, she had a difficulty
Sure.
understanding and stuff, but she was easier for her for French because of the Spanish.
Mhm.
So one day my mom was cooking, and I remember this as if it was yesterday. And my dad and I were all talking in English. She got pissed off. She had a pot of lentils and she just threw the pot at the table and she's like, "You guys want to eat here? The only thing you're going to speak is Spanish." My dad just looked at my mom, looked at us, and said, "Your mother's right." And thanks to that, I have my Spanish like I do today. Because if not,
Yeah.
I would have had broken Spanish stuff.
Well,
That's
you're lucky. You're lucky that she did that
oh yeah.
rather than okay, Spanish, now
Mm.
Italian, now
Yeah.
French, now Portuguese.
That's what the friends in the street was. That was for.
Well, there you go. Real
Yeah.
quick, Jesse's struggling with Jimmy Hoffa, and of course he changes it to Joffa. It
Hoffa.
is Hoffa, but I understand why you'd move it to a J.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I go to say Jesse Guajardo and I start with an H. No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting back to
Yeah. We've been all
So,
over the world, haven't we?
I told
Quite
you
literally.
Yeah, I told you he would
That's
run
fine.
with anything that he would just glom
Oh,
on
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
with it. So, how did you start your channel? And like, where do you see it going from here? Like,
Yeah. What are the plans?
Yeah, what are the plans
Man,
for it?
you're coming with the fire questions. Well, it started because one of my childhood friends, my first friend, who was from Nova Scotia, uh, we literally lived like my apartment door and his apartment door was basically 3 meters apart, right? And I saw he was on a YouTube, like streaming with a buddy of his and stuff, and I saw it, and they were talking about some racial stuff and stuff that hit close to home growing up. So I'm like, hey, can I jump on one day? And I jumped on and had a great time. And then people that were watching, friends of his, liked the stuff I had to say about that, and a lot of comic book and pop culture stuff. So they invited me onto his channel called Chaos Central, and I was on that channel with Chris Knight from the Real View 3000 and the Road to Wisdom before his channel was Comic Chat. And it just grew from there. We started talking, and next thing you know, during the whole pandemic, I was doing 4 to 5 streams a week. And then things happened, and YouTube drama happens, and pretty much said to myself, you know what, screw this, I'm going to do my own thing too. And that's when I started doing the Hangout, and I started doing that show weekly consistently, because it's good to have a schedule when you do a channel. And slowly and surely after that, I just started, upgrading my camera, my graphics card and stuff like that to invest in the whole quality, some LED lights, $20, looks nice. And after that, it was just basically gaming streams. I gamed a lot, and I started doing shorts and stuff like that. And whenever I felt like it, I just did some extra streams, and I got to meet cool people like Comics Division, for example.
Yeah.
I started when I started YouTube. We were doing a lot of roundtable discussions for shows on Disney, like
Sure,
and stuff like that. And he was part of it. And after that, he invited me on his channel. So got to meet a lot of people there, like Taximon Flu, 32 Flavors from Nick,
Nick
Weiser. Great people, man, great. And I like mixing and being part of many different channels.
Sure,
because I love the discussion. I don't like always being in a stagnant channel where it's the same thing over and over again. Like, I like going on Comics Division channels when I have the time. Usually, like today, if I had time, I would jump on his channel and talk about politics that you get your perspective of politics, because what we get up here is not the same what you guys are living, right?
Right.
Because, government funded news.
Yes,
Jeff.
yes.
So basically, that's how I was. And where did I see my channel? Well, I never thought I was going to be at 1,100 and something subs in 3 years. I didn't think that. I still don't have watch hours, but that's okay.
We're in the same
not
boat, my
pushing
friend.
yeah, I'm not pushing I'm not really going at it like to make this a sustainable thing. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's a great hobby for me. My wife is super happy because I leave her alone, and and sometimes she gets upset, especially this Valentine's. When I'm supposed to, my show fell on a Valentine's Day, and my show is usually an hour, and for some reason that show just rocked, and we did it for like 2 hours. So when I finished my show, all my panelists were like, "Yeah, you better get back. You better go see her." And I walk in the bedroom. She looks at me. From all days, today had to be the 2 hour show. And then she smiles, and I'm like, "You told me to do it."
Well, wait a minute. Didn't we do a show on No, it wasn't on Valentine's Day. It was the day after.
Well, we did Valentine's for the Thursday, which I think was the 13th.
I think that was the day after. I think it was Wednesday. Wait. That's right. We canceled the Dungeons and Dragons game because it was Valentine's Day.
No. The 15th was the Thursday. And then we also did something on the 17th. So on the 15th, we celebrated Valentine's Day, and we did the Charlie Brown Valentine's. And then on the 17th, we did Deadpool.
Keep receipts.
Valentine's.
Well, I can't remember what day of the week it was. I just isn't Valentine's Day the 14th?
Yes.
So that was the Wednesday.
Yeah, it was the Wednesday.
So that was why we canceled the D&D game. That's right.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something about that. I don't know. It's
my channel, it's gonna grow. It's been growing slowly, but I'm not really pushing it because my job, I was telling you backstage, my job is really demanding. Yeah. So, and then I have my family life that comes first as well. So,
and that's what I was going to say because we were talking in the green room about the day jobs and whatnot, and I've said this on stream before. I'm a contractor, so if anything happens to this job, nice. I may take some time and just try to do, YouTube videos full time and see
100%
I can do it. But I'm not planning on happening anytime real soon. I'm just saying if it happens,
I'm telling you, my wife watches a lot of shows on YouTube, people that she's showing me a show. She goes, "Look, hun, this woman, all she does is clean her house. 100K views, close to 500K.
He sets up a camera and cleans her house.
That's it.
Yeah,
and she ain't wearing skimpy stuff or anything. She's sweatpants and going around her house, cleaning, wiping, cleaning around the toilet and stuff like that. And she has
I wouldn't even be interested if she was wearing skimpy clothes. It's I cannot fathom that.
It's for the people that like to see clutter go to neat. And usually she's got sped up, so it's you see her kind of going around the room and
that might actually be a little more dynamic.
Fold these clothes, put these things away, vacuum, and you see her transform her messy bedroom or messy living room or whatever into something spotless.
Well, that would make, if she does regular shows, I'd start to wonder how the hell messy are you that it gets messy enough for you to do another show to clean up.
Yeah,
that's weekly,
but
Or she's got kids, because kids can make messes.
Well, okay, you got to
damn those children. Damn that offspring.
That's right. I was going to ask you though, being from Montreal, you ever watch Viva Fry?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, he's absolutely. How could I know? I thought I was going to have to tell you who he was. Yeah, because we got him now. He's ours now.
Yeah, she said, "Fuck this shit. I'm out."
Back to Canada because his visa ran out.
See, that's one of the things he's been talking about. He has to decide what's going to happen because I think he was on a 3-year visa or something like that. So
how it works is if you don't over here our Medicare system, right? I think you can't be gone more than 3 months, and then you have to go back and show that you've been back for a few things to not lose your Medicare and stuff like that.
Okay,
say it as it's may. The healthcare system here, it has its pros and it has its cons, right?
Sure.
But it's hurting bad. A
Yeah.
few weeks ago, my wife wasn't feeling well, and she had to go to the hospital, and she waited in the hotel. I was gonna say, in the lobby of the ER for about almost 12 hours before she was actually seen by a doctor. You know,
Yeah.
she did the triage thing. They checked her, they checked the blood pressure and everything, and but 12 hours, 12 hours. It's a long
I
time.
have
It wasn't
I
like
have
that
heard
before.
I've heard crazy stories like if you are planning to have a baby, you have to plan it out with the hospital 13 months in advance, which is a problem when it takes 9 months to have a baby. So
That depends where. Like, when my wife gave birth, it wasn't like that at all. And I'm
okay.
talking about 18 years ago and 21, right? So it's like
I wouldn't have
it
guessed
wasn't
you're
like
old
that.
enough to have kids that old.
Yeah, my complexion keeps me young. Yeah, yeah. But no, it wasn't like that. We
Hmm.
had her doctor, and basically she had to be induced because of her high blood pressure that she had during her
Oh,
labor.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
So it was like, oh, your blood pressure. Pick up the phone, call. Yep, the room's ready, and that's what it was. It
Good.
wasn't like no waiting time or anything like that. But yeah, I know certain places in Canada it's gotten crazy,
Yeah.
and especially here in Quebec, we're losing a lot of people because of all those stupid weird laws this government in our province is doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are they're getting educated here and they're leaving,
Yep.
and Viva Frey. That's why he's just fed up with all this nonsense of this province, and he's just said, "Screw it." Yeah, and again, he's a lawyer, so he has money. It's not like
That is the thing.
so
I
like
mean, well, actually, it sounded to me like if I was understanding what his career trajectory was, he had tapered off his
Mm.
practice like big time. He had like one case that was left, and he had become a YouTuber full time.
full time, yeah,
And so really he's become very very, very successful.
very huge.
So
Very.
that is really the money that he was able to, and of course, being a YouTuber means he can be in Canada, he can be in the US, he can be wherever he wants to be.
Yeah.
If he wanted to practice law, he'd probably have to, pass the state bar in Florida now. I mean, well, I guess he'd need citizenship.
It's funny. Quebecers in Florida, come on. How stereotyped can you be?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
where they all go. When I was down there visiting my family, it was just insane.
You know why?
We
we
went to a certain area with my wife, and we're trying to escape, the real French Canadians, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not that they're all bad or anything like that, but we're like trying to escape them. Sure. We get down there, and then we go to a freaking some mall or something, and we're there looking at stuff, and then we hear, hey, B, check so looks. I could find saying Sue. And I'm like, what the fuck? They're everywhere. We're like, holy shit. I was like, what the hell, man? There ain't no escape.
I travel across the continent and I'm still hearing them.
What the hell?
You know why they all go to Florida, though, right?
No.
It's the same reason that we have so many people here that retire to Florida. The
taxes?
The taxes. Yeah. You don't have what is it? You don't have you have income tax, but you don't have, is it property tax? I don't remember what.
Well, us, we have everything. We get taxed up the ass.
Oh yeah, and here in Illinois, same thing. We got, and Nanette and I are like, we got to get out of Illinois.
We get taxed on the tax.
Yes,
man,
you got a double tax. Yeah.
The next thing you know, I look down, my pants are down.
Yeah, exactly.
What just happened? Yeah, it's crazy.
And this is what I've given up. I try to tell the younger generation. They don't want to listen. There's nothing free. No free lunch. Everything that you think is free, someone else is paying for.
100%.
Absolutely.
And when the government is paying for it, you're paying for it. That's your tax dollars.
Yeah.
And so here's the logic. Oh, well, that's fine because I paid for it. So but do you understand the more hands that dollar goes through, the less you get back. You pay $1, you get 2 cents back. It's not.
You're breaking my heart.
Well, it's Econ 101, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and this is what they don't.
See, those are the stuff that they should teach you at school, which they don't teach you.
They used to.
Like real math that you need in everyday life.
Now you got to learn the 500 different genders and, how oppressive, how oppressive history has been and how evil you are because of the color of your skin. Wait a minute. Didn't we fight a war about that? And didn't we decide that we were all going to be equal? Oh, no, we're not equal anymore. Now it's got to be reversed.
Yeah,
I don't know.
First, I don't know that it's well, man. We can be here all night, Trey.
Yes, we
Talk
well,
about
no.
this.
Both of our wives would not allow, I'm sure.
No,
Yeah.
no, they'd be not happy, absolutely not happy. Yeah, it's just
you got a 21-year-old running around there for crying out loud. You got to put to bed.
Yes, I guess.
That's over. That's over.
I know.
You know what I mean? Now when children are 18, 21, quality time is hard to come by. Because they like to stay up to like 3, 4 in the morning now. It's not like before when they were little kids put in the bed and you go, "Hey, honey, how you doing?" No, it's not like that. Now it's like when they leave the house, all of a sudden we just look at each other and like,
we can sleep.
Hey, we're alone. We're alone. And I'm like, I look at her. Huh? She's like, I'm dead tired.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, God damn it.
Well, the other thing too is that 18-year-old.
That was one.
Yeah, you got one.
What? Oh,
yeah.
That was one.
When they're 18.
Mea culpa.
No, yeah. When they're 18, they start I'm 18, I don't have to listen to you. And you're right. You're right. You're 18. I don't have to put up with your shit either. Get out.
Yeah. See, Hispanic families, because my wife's Chilean, right?
Uh-huh.
We're not like that with kids. Like I stayed at home until I was 21. And I was technically still home because my parents owned buildings. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in an apartment down the street.
Sure.
But, yeah, it's like at one point I told my wife, I think she's going to be here till she's like 30. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Well, don't get me wrong. We got to get a
bi-generation house or something. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. My mom would say that. She never actually meant it. Well, I mean, she kind of did. She was like, you could leave. It's like, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Okay. My next question.
Yeah.
Not to you.
Oh, well, I know. Go
to
on.
our guests. If you're having a guest on your show, who
Mm-hmm.
would be your get? Who would be the one that you would really want to have on your show that you can kind of like interview or just like hang out with on a stream?
You might not have direct contact to. You might have to have someone put in a good word.
Like if I had to choose anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, who would be your
anyone.
get?
Who would I get? Depends what I want to talk about. That's a loaded question. Man. Shit, you really got me. You got me on that one. I would. The first person that came from my mind, I don't know why. Maybe because he's Canadian, Ryan Reynolds, for some reason.
Oh yeah, man, that would be great.
I would. Either him or Jim Carrey. I will go more with Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Now
let's
because he's been through a lot, and I really would want to hear his story and how he came out.
Sure.
Okay, let's minimize that a little bit to YouTubers. That would be your get.
Oh yeah,
YouTubers.
Yeah, any YouTuber that you would love to have, just to get on your channel, talk to them.
The person I've been trying to get, and I know he's really busy, is PJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the reason why is because he's Basque too.
Yeah,
and so there would be a lot of discussion on it as well.
We've been trying to get him too. He's just
So I know we've spoken a lot of times and by DMs and stuff about doing a show talking about the Basque people, because it's it's something that's
sure
a lot of people don't know about it, and it's a beautiful history lesson in a way.
Sure.
And another thing, Annetta, you were telling me about what I see with my channel doing. One thing I want to do is I want to do a Spanglish stream with other Hispanics, Latinos, whatever they want to. Some people get upset when you say Latino or Hispanic, but growing up Latino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for everybody it's different. For me, it was completely different growing up because I didn't know what I was having identity crisis with all the cultural appropriation that was happening around me. But it's different because you can have Hispanics that are growing up in Texas and New York and God knows Seattle, for example. That was completely different. You're growing up in as a Hispanic or Latino, right? What you're exposed to. So I would like to have a show like that we all share our stories and how.
In that case, you want to get with Latino Slants?
Yeah, Paulie.
Paulie.
And,
Yeah. I
and
streamed
with
him a
Mikey, the
bunch of
Iron Man, Mexican
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mikey's
Mikey.
great. Yeah, Fletcher as well. Like
Yes,
Fletcher,
Fletcher's awesome.
Yeah,
Fletcher? Fletcher Williams.
Fletcher Williams. He's a great
yeah,
player.
exactly. We make fun. Like I made fun of him. I'm like, man, that's not really a Hispanic name, Fletcher Williams.
Fletcher Williams.
I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
you got colonized by your name.
Yeah,
you know, like
you got Americanized.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like Antonio Banderas, and then calling him Tony Flags.
Yeah. That's good.
Well,
man.
Translates out to.
It does.
Yeah. Tony Flags. Yeah.
Tony Flags.
Yeah, Tony Flags. That's good.
Yeah, no,
That's
exactly.
good. I like that one. Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me thought you were going to say Viva Fry. Another part of
Viva
me
Fry?
thought you were going to say Doomcock.
You know, it's Viva Fry is great. I'm sure his depth and what he talks about is intense. My thing is more, I want to get away.
I
like talking politics, but I like getting away from that because it's bombarding us on a daily basis.
It sure is.
And when I come on here, I don't mind talking about it, but I try to stay away from it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll comment. Exactly.
When it starts to tax you emotionally, it's like, I need to get away from it.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who emails me all the time. Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? And it's like news articles and stuff. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'll hold on to that for geeky geezers or whatever. Sometimes I delete it without reading it. I'm like, I can't. I don't want to know what Biden said. I don't want to know what Kamala said. I don't care. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just moving on, you know?
Yeah. Kamala. She studied in Montreal, by the way.
Yes, I know. I know. She probably cackled her way through it.
I have no idea.
Oh gosh,
I hated the high school she went to. Beat the shit out of her hockey team. Yeah. Yeah.
That's your connection. Yeah, we beat the crap out of that
hockey team. Yeah. Broke out in a brawl. I had my first hockey on ice fight. Didn't go well.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Okay, let me ask you this. I'm not a big sports kind of guy anyway, but why is it that hockey has this reputation of being so violent with fights breaking out?
Oh, they're trying to get rid of it too. Like now the problem with is they want to try and get rid of hitting as well in a sense. And they're not teaching the younger divisions, because before, when you were going up, how it works here, you have like single letter, double letter, and triple letter, right, for a division. So you have, like, for example, midget A, midget double B, double A, double triple A, right? And when you hit the double letters, you have contact, right, where you can body check and stuff like that as you're growing up. But the coaches and stuff, they would actually do like lessons where you're taught how to, you know, peripheral vision, get your body ready to sustain a hit, right?
Yeah.
And they're not teaching that anymore. So a lot of kids are getting hurt and stuff like that. And now I think, if I remember last article I read, they're trying to abolish that completely in the younger divisions now. I think double letters now you can't hit anymore. It's only on triple letters.
The reason I ask that is because the big contact sport here is American football.
Yeah.
Where you're literally
American rugby.
Yeah, your rugby's actually I know this is controversial, especially living here, but I've seen some rugby matches.
Yeah.
I think those guys are a little bit tougher. They don't have.
I agree with you.
They don't have near as much padding. They don't stop. They pick up that ball and keep running, and the field is bigger. But you're right. By and large, they're very, very similar. But the point is, the whole thing is they square off against another player, smash into each other, then they back up, set up, and do it again. They're constantly beating the crap out of each other, but no one gets
Yeah, and
They
they have
stop and start.
cauliflower ears because of their ears. Some of their ears sometimes get
Yeah.
ripped off.
Yeah,
That's why
well,
they have them all taped.
and you're
Yeah.
hearing about the head injuries, over time and whatnot, but none of them are breaking out in fights or anything like
No.
on the field.
Yeah, it's rare. That has happened, but it's rare. It's really rare.
I mean, it makes me wonder, what is it about hockey? What is it about that little puck
So,
that
so the
upsets
thing with
people so
hockey
much?
was the fighting was always the enforcers, and I think there's even a documentary on Netflix about enforcers,
Okay.
and I actually have a great story about one enforcer that played for the Montreal Canadiens. His name is Chris Nyland, right?
Uh-huh.
And this guy, basically, the enforcers, it was protecting the players. Like, for example, Wayne Gretzky, which we probably all know, right?
Sure.
If it wasn't for the enforcers on their team, right,
Uh-huh.
he would have gotten destroyed by the other tough guys.
Okay.
The moment he was hit too hard or whatever, the enforcers would go in there and show them, yeah, hey, I'm here. You don't touch him,
Mhm.
right? So that was the purpose of the fighting. It was just to keep the other teams in check, right? About who they can touch and who they can't touch.
Wow.
So if you went through their key players, they would put the brawler onto the ice, and he would go and get that person and make sure that the message was given. That's where it comes from. And
So
yeah.
Jesse's making a point here. He says, Troy, they can force our hockey players to play nice, but there's no guarantees that other countries will play nice at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It just
Yeah.
seems like hockey is just such a
It's
that little puck makes him so angry.
I don't know if it's the sticks or if it's the ice or the what, but
I've only got into scraps twice. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I can't even imagine a sport where you're on ice skates. I mean, I could barely walk, and we're without tripping, and these guys are on ice, and then you see these guys come around a bend and they smash into that plexiglass. One guy gets flattened, and I don't think it's even because they're trying to smash the guy. It's just that's just how momentum works.
It's scary. I stopped playing because I had 3 concussions playing hockey.
Woof.
And completely. I remember what you said. I was going onto the boards, grab the puck, and this guy just, I don't know where, I don't even know. I don't even remember. I just got pounded. And
Wow.
next thing you know, I was like being helped up, and that was one of the bad ones. The one that took me out completely is when I was tripped at full speed and I went head first into the boards.
Oh,
and the helmet itself, it has 2 screws like here to adjust your helmet this way.
Sure.
Cracked from the impact. It cracked the helmet.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got up, continued playing. A buddy of mine that was playing with me actually dropped his gloves because he didn't think I was going to get up.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember it took everything to get off the ice.
Uh-huh.
And then when I was on the bench, everything was dizzy. I was lights. And then I had to go to the hospital because it was
man.
Yeah, that was the worst one. That was the worst one. Nausea for over a month. Migraines, sensitive to light, noise. Yeah, it was bad. And after I didn't play for 5 years, and when I went back, I wasn't the same.
No.
Like I can tell when I would pivot on a I was off, and I was always playing with fear, so I stopped playing.
Yeah, no, you can't at that point. I dig it.
I almost took somebody out my grocery cart once because the momentum going and the cart's heavy and they're not getting out of the way, and it's just like move or die.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, shopping story. I remember one year back when they used to have malls. I remember being in a mall at Christmas time. And, well, you know what it's like. You're in Canada. Everyone tries to be polite, right? Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. And nobody's moving.
Yeah.
And eventually the tight, close people, the hot, wearing from outside and, the Italian, I'm like, if you people don't get the fuck out of my way, I'll start moving you myself. And I swear the whole aisle, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea. And I just walked through. I said, thank you. Merry Christmas. And everyone's looking at me like, He's a crazy person. I just want to get over here, get the thing, and leave. Okay?
You won't be like, do you understand the words that are coming
They're
out
coming out
of
of my mouth. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like now Troy will. It affects him a lot worse than me. He does not like crowds. He does not like feeling that kind of
that claustrophobia
Yeah.
type. But I'm a big guy, so
Yeah.
I take up more room.
So it's like if we fly, which we haven't done in years, but when we fly, I always made sure I got him an aisle seat so he had a little bit more room because he's a bigger guy. And so he's just like, get out of my way before I just move you.
Yeah.
Where, I will start off with, excuse me, pardon me. And then, if they're not listening, I just get loud. Excuse me, pardon me, can you move?
Yeah.
And that's when they look around like, oh, I'm in the way. It's like, yeah, move your butt. Because I'm changing the way this is actually worded, but actually, no, I'm not. I'm nice until it's time to not be nice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, everybody has their limit, right? It takes
that
drop to like overflow the glass.
I'm polite until it's time to not be polite.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what? I'm generally a very nice person. I'm usually very polite because that's the way I was raised. But don't get on my last nerve because I'm old now. I don't give a fuck.
She reminds me of that what's her name from Fried Green Tomatoes. Let's face it, girls, I'm older and I have more insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
I missed the joke that I wanted to make coming into the stream. I was going to say Basco scenario. Does that have anything to do with Basco chocolate syrup?
You asked me this already.
Did I?
You did one of your streams, yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Well, we have a new audience, so.
Well, that's true. That is a good point. You do know about the chocolate syrup, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's a fond childhood memory of mine, so I certainly had to bring it up. Yes, Evelyn says Netter is in charge of security on our Klingon ship. That's partly why. Exactly right. So, what do you have coming up in the next, say, week or so?
So, this week I'm on this show called Storms Live by Robert Storms.
Okay.
Every Sunday I jump on there from 7 to 9, talk about pop culture and stuff like that, the stuff that every other company has ruined our childhood with.
Yes.
And then I have my show on the Hangout on Wednesdays, and that's pretty much it. I just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Guys are always welcome to stop by, and if you ever want to jump on and talk about topics of like just yesterday we talked about how Shogun is an amazing show.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if you've seen it.
I hadn't heard anything about it, and I was hoping it would be good.
It is worth watching.
Okay. It's
one of the highest rated shows on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Wow, I'll have to check it out then. Good.
It's funny how we Rotten Tomatoes, and like when it suits our narrative, we're like, Rotten Tomatoes is great, everybody likes it.
But, and this is the thing I say, after you figure out what's going on with it, it's just like I always used to say about the reviewers, right? Certain reviewers were full of crap, other ones, were pretty spot on. You start to know, you start to pay attention. It becomes the same thing with Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe you don't pay quite as much attention to the shills, but you pay attention to the figure on the right, which is the viewers and what they.
I always say, watch it for yourself.
Oh yeah,
watch it for yourself. Be your own judge. But yeah, we talked about that Shogun, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Netflix right now. They got renewed for seasons 2 and 3 because did pretty well. I don't understand Netflix. Sometimes they renew shows that sometimes you're like, and good shows like Brother's Son, which was a great show, got canceled. So I was like, oh, I don't get it. But yeah, we talked about those two shows. I haven't seen Dune yet. A lot of hype over that movie, but I was like not really moved by this first one. Like, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, but you said about crowds, right?
Yeah.
I don't like going to the theater anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. The generation that goes to the theater have no respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just for myself to spend money to go to a theater where people are going to be on their cell phones, screaming, talking, and stuff like that. I don't. It takes away the experience. for me. So I have to.
I remember. I'm old enough to remember that when you'd go to a theater, you'd dress nice.
Yeah.
You had to be quiet, or someone
Velvet
would come
curtains.
around and tell you to,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And the theaters, they were these old
The
converted
theaters, yes. The
where
theaters.
there was a stage up there that they
Yeah.
didn't use much, and the curtains would
Love
part
those.
and the screen would be behind it, and you had these beautiful lofty, ceilings above you.
100%.
And
Montreal had so many of those theaters,
Yeah.
beautiful theaters, and then the megaplexes came and just killed them all.
yeah,
It's like the last time Troy and I went to the movies, like there was like 3 teenagers sitting next to us, like, it was me, him, then there was like an empty seat, and then the 3 teenagers. And they kept playing on their phones. So I kept seeing all this light next to me.
Exactly.
And it's like trying to enjoy the movie, I kept seeing the light. So I turned to the girls, and they're sitting there like whispering, and it's like, excuse me, can you turn off your freaking phone and shut up? If you want to talk and play on your phones, go to the lobby.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you're right. I did that once, more than once actually, where we went to see. The movie was, oh my god, with Jet Li and Leia, Romeo Must Die.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I went to see that movie in my
That was some
neighborhood.
time ago.
My neighborhood, right? And I went there, and there was a woman that was very into the movie and like wouldn't stop talking.
Oh gosh.
And talking. And a buddy of mine was like, this man, she doesn't shut up. And I'm like, excuse me. And I go all nice, right? Excuse me, can you stop talking so much? We're trying to listen to the movie. And she's like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, then I said it again. And I'm like, could you just shut the fuck up? And her boyfriend that was next to her got up. And this guy was fucking huge.
Yeah.
He was huge. My friend was next to me. He was like, we're fucking dead. And I'm like, no. And I looked at him, and he's like, he looks at her, and then he goes to her, I told you to shut the fuck up. I was like, whew, thank you, Lord. I guess he was getting annoyed too.
Yeah.
And he snapped. But I got scared.
All you have to do is say, are you going to shut up, or do I need to get you ejected?
Yeah.
And then you go and you get the manager of the theater and go, there are people talking behind me. They will not shut up. I've asked them nicely several times now. I paid $20 whatever to see this film.
Yeah.
Can you please do something about this?
Yeah.
I just feel like at this point, I mean, we shouldn't even have to be having these kinds of conversations. We live in a world where this is just far too common. That used to be the rare exception. Now it's become the norm,
You know what? Ever since they removed spankings, that's what we get now.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There was a movie that Troy and I went to see, and I don't remember which one it was now, but it was not suitable for children. And there was a woman sitting behind me with like a 2-year-old, and she's talking to him throughout the whole movie, like explaining things on screen. I'm like, excuse me, will you please be quiet? I'm trying to hear this. It's like, and she's like, I'm just, explaining to my child what this about. I'm like, if your child doesn't understand, they shouldn't be here. Plus, this is not a child-friendly movie.
Yeah.
Like, I said, please be quiet. And after the third or fourth time, and me getting more and more pissed, I told Troy, I was like,
that's crazy.
I will be back. I left the theater, got the first usher that I found, and said, you do something about this woman before I take her out. And he came back with me. I was like, this
Round
woman,
one. Fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, I will take her out, because I was so ready to just turn around and just deck her.
Yeah.
It's like, I paid a lot of money to see this film. I want to hear the film. I don't want to hear you talking to your kid.
That's right. And it's been so. I think the last movie that I went to see where it wasn't, where the theater was packed, was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the second one. Yeah, that's Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, that's a kid's movie,
and,
right?
And it was a great movie. Kids or not, but it was packed. People were talking. People wouldn't shut up, and we still have assigned seats ever since the COOF. Now,
Right.
Theater. The next day, you buy your ticket, you have your seat number. And that's so.
We actually had that pretty much before the COOF. That was becoming standard. Yeah.
I love that. But what happened was, people did not respect their seating.
Sure.
So all of a sudden, people were coming in. There were a bunch of people in the rows and the aisles, and they were like talking. And I'm trying to the movie had already started. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. And my daughter's like, "You okay, Dad?" I'm like, "No, I'm losing my shit." And all of a sudden, the lights come on, and the movie's paused. The first time this happens. I'm like, what the hell? And the lights come on. Then you see the ushers come, and then they start asking people their tickets. I'm like, unbelievable. And people getting upset. I'm like, the people that wanted to sit in their seats had the right to be upset. And other people
right.
Oh no. And basically 25 minutes so that people can sit in their proper seats.
Yeah.
That's how long it was. And it's just like, for me, I was like, oh my God. So the other times that I go see a movie now, if that I really want to see and I really want to see it, I'll have to either go on off times or wait 2 to 3 weeks that the movie has been out already to go see it.
I'm actually at the point where not even for that reason.
Wait for streaming?
Well, no, maybe not that bad. Yeah,
or the pirate ship, you say, my take.
Actually, for a lot of movies, yeah, maybe. But if it is one that I really, really want to see in the theaters, I've gotten to the point where I don't go opening week or maybe even the second week. Partly because I don't make it a high priority, but also partly because I'm so guarded now. Even if I think it's going to be great, I'm afraid I'm going to hear it's a bunch of crap, and they race gender swapped half the characters and what, and maybe I don't want to see it, so I wait. And I wait until I hear what's going on with it before I go check it out. I got to be honest with you, didn't see Dune last week. We are planning to go this weekend, but I'm starting to feel a little iffy about it because everyone's that is a not a book fan is saying it was good. Everyone who's a book fan going,
it's crap.
They're starting to move away from, and I don't think, and so in fact,
so it's not staying true to the book. That's what you're saying.
I may end up doing a stream talking about it after I see it, so maybe wait on that. I don't want to say too much until I've seen it, but
from what I've heard, it's a good movie, except for Zendaya just doesn't bring it. And
I'll give you one example, okay, of what I heard. And I'm citing I'll mention her because she's great. Nerd Cookies. She knows her lore, and she was saying that and I had been looking forward to this too. Character of Thufir Hawat. I can't remember the actor's name. He's a person of color, but he's got a skin condition where his skin is really light. He had been talking. Pardon me? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'd been talking about how excited he was about his scenes, and they were all cut. And when asked about it, Denis Villeneuve said, well, really, this is a story more about the Bene Gesserit, so we had to cut, the scenes of the Mentats. And I said, oh, really? So translation, this is a movie about the women of Dune, so we have to cut the men. That's basically how I read that. Right. I'm like, the other two versions didn't have to do that. Why did you have to do it? Okay, I see where this is going. Especially when the Bene Gesserit are getting a TV series. Okay, it's the woman show again. So that's got me kind of on the fence. But if I'm gonna make up my mind, in this case I really do have to see it. But real quick, want to say hi to Adega Outlaw. He just jumped in there.
Hi, Adega.
Hello, Adega.
I'm also thinking our chatter's going, Netter's gonna take somebody out. Wait, isn't Netter really sweet? I am until you push me.
Yeah, you know her. She's a feisty.
That I'm small, but I'm feisty.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I was 16, 17 years old, I used to be an Andy Frayne usherette, or we used to call ourselves crowd engineers.
They were security, basically.
And it's actually kind of a funny thing. It's like I was scheduled to work a Bootsy and the Rubber Band concert. You can see from my avatar, I'm very, very white. I mean, I'm pale.
Yep. Pale and blonde. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to get some sun. Damn.
Yeah. The supervisors or whoever that were making up the schedules for who's going to work this concert thought Nanette was a black name. So they scheduled me. And I had heard of Bootsy and the rubber band and all that, and it's like didn't really think anything of it. And then I arrive at the theater for my shift, and the supervisor on shift and all the other workers were black, and they're looking at me like, "Why are you here?" And it's like, "I'm scheduled to work," and they're like, "No, no, 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 you're white," and I'm like, "And?"
I am.
Yeah, and they're like, "No, you don't understand. Everyone here is," and he's trying to be delicate about it. He goes,
Yeah.
"Everyone here is not your color," and I'm like, "And?" He goes, "You're gonna have to
Might be a
go." I'm
problem.
like, "I can't go. My ride's already left. I'm stuck here till 3 a.m. when this thing ends." And they're like, "Okay, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna stay right here by the front door." Because for some reason they were scared for my safety, and I'm just like, "Why?" But he goes, "You're
Yeah.
gonna stay right here by the front door, and you will take the VIPs backstage. You come right back here again. You don't stop. You don't talk to anybody. You don't look at anybody. Just, And I'm like, and of those of you who may not be aware, I'm 5'4", and at that time I weighed less than 100 pounds. So I was a very tiny person. I mean, I'm still a tiny person. I just weigh slightly more. But I was also, like I said, about 17 years old. And so I was like, okay, I couldn't see what the big deal was. It's like, I'm not looking for trouble, and I seriously doubt anyone really wants to hurt me. But I ended up taking some VIP backstage. On my way back, a very nicely dressed couple was standing out. I said, "Oh, excuse me. We think that these gentlemen are in our seats." And the guys sitting down were built like linebackers. I mean, they were huge,
All right.
muscles out the wazoo and all that. And I was at a point where I was not giving any more shits. I had none to give.
Okay.
And it's like, I was just kind of pissed off because I was being treated differently. Basically because of my skin color. I wasn't able to stay in the theater and watch the concert because they were afraid for my safety and all this stuff. It's like, really? So it's like, I looked at their tickets, and they were supposed to be in the seats. Then I asked the two gentlemen sitting down, and I use the word gentleman loosely. I said, "Can I see your tickets?" And they're digging in their pocket. They pull them out, and they're like, "Yeah, here." Took a look at the tickets, and I said, I had no more fucks to give. And I said, "Fool, you're supposed to be in the third balcony. Get your ass out of the seat up there before I throw you out." And they jumped out of that seat, and they're like scary white women, and ran out of the theater. And that couple sat down really fast, like,
The way you said that reminded me of the scene in Airplane of the white woman speaking jive.
"Oh, yeah."
Oh wait, that was what's her name from Leave It to Beaver, wasn't it?
June.
No.
That was her name.
I don't know what the actress name was.
I forget. But
It was like,
yeah,
some swag, Jack.
But it's
my gosh!
I said, "I'm small, but I'm feisty. You push me, and I will."
I
Go
do
back,
believe
fight
I
back.
do believe big people see little people, get like this. Like, does she know something I don't? Maybe we shouldn't push this.
It's kind of like a chihuahua.
Kind of
You
like
know,
a chihuahua,
you
yeah.
see a chihuahua, you're like, "Oh, it's a little tiny dog."
Barbara
Until
Billingsley, thank you,
Yeah.
Evelyn. I knew you would know.
It's like, do you see a chihuahua starting to bare their teeth and growling? You're like, "Oh crap, I'm in trouble."
Exactly. All right.
Crazy.
We should probably wind this down.
Yes.
Before we do that, though,
Yes.
anything that you want to get out, anything you want to plug, you've already told us what you got coming up this week, but anything you wanted to share that we didn't get to tonight?
I like long walks on the beach and some.
Do you like pina coladas? No, I'm sorry.
No, seriously, guys, it's been fun. It went by fast.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. And you want to come and check us out on Wednesdays on my channel, the Basco Scenario. I think the link had passed. Oh, look, it's pinned on top.
Top of the chat.
It's
Yes.
pinned on top.
He's been making grown men cry since early days for multiple reasons. That's absolutely true.
And thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
That's like, I always love having great guests on, and you have been a great guest.
We've been dropping his link all night. I hope you all have already subscribed to him. If you haven't, of course, the link is also in the description below. Make sure that's why we do this. As the much elusive PJ of Orville Nation always says, together we grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to say, rising tide raises all ships. So. Let's make sure we support each other.
I just think friends support friends.
Absolutely. How can you call yourself a friend if you aren't subscribed to us, for crying out loud?
That's
so
right.
that means netter below. If you look down below and it says subscribe and it's outlined in red, that means you're not subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed.
And make sure to ring that bell.
Then ring
There
that
you go.
notification bell. So, well,
And
Okay, now I'm
comment.
curious.
I don't really push the notification bell that much because I don't really
Yeah.
trust it. So many people are like, I have the notification bell on and it
Yeah,
didn't tell me that this.
You have to watch it when you sub to some people. You have to make sure that you watch a video and you like it and you comment, because if after X amount of time, it will remove that sub.
Yep,
Yeah.
I've seen that
Damn
happen.
that YouTube.
Sometimes literally within 12 hours. I was on a stream, actually it was with Pops, and a whole bunch of people had subscribed to me, one of which was Noob Reviews. And she's like, I know I was subscribed to Troy Pacelli yesterday, and today I'm not. So you know. And I'm like, see, there's your proof, you know?
Yeah.
And one thing I always suggest is open up an extra tab in your browser, go to any of our channels, or if you want to, go to all of our channels. So do a separate tab for each of us. Hit play all for our content.
That thing.
Yeah. We get the algorithms are going, hey, somebody's watching all the stuff. That's fantastic. Yeah. So we get that, or I should say the algorithms get that adrenaline rush going, someone's watching all this stuff. This is great. Plus, we get the watch hours, which right now, Troy and are that's what we need. I'm about halfway there. And I think Troy is...
I'm about 2/3 of the way.
2/3 of the way, yeah. So we're trying to get those watch hours, because once we get watch hours, we can get monetized.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So we can get those pennies and pretend like we're actually making money doing this.
But of course,
YouTube takes like a big chunk out of it.
Right.
Since we are not monetized, both Troy and I always have this in our streams. If you look in the description below, there is my PayPal link. So if you want to buy Troy a drink, if you want to buy me a drink, if you want to support either of our channels, you can just send something to the to my PayPal, and I'll buy him alcohol, and then you can laugh at him.
Yeah, because it's entertaining when I get drunk, apparently.
You can buy me a drink because I have to put up with them.
I personally think that my singing
aftermath behind the scenes where nobody sees.
Right. I personally think the more I drink, the better my jokes get, and the better I sing. That's probably not true, but it's funny for you. So there you go.
And when he starts talking like Sylvester the cat, and then
you're despicable. So speaking of which, tomorrow night, 9:00 Central, 10 Eastern, on my channel. Last Call with Troy Pacelli. My guest tomorrow night will be Rancor Steve. I've been on his Rumble channel a couple times the past couple weeks. We will be having a man-to-man talk over there, talking about manly things. So it'll be the man show on
I was
Last
gonna
Call.
say it's the man
with Netter the token girl on the panel.
Token girl.
I can be manly.
Well, don't be too manly. I mean, that's not what I signed up for.
I mean, you
all
heard my
their
earlier
own.
story where I kicked these linebackers out of their chair, made them go up to the third balcony.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So that's tomorrow night on Last Call.
I know jujitsu, at least some of it.
Yeah. Well, you come home telling me you know this technique to throw me, but the reality is you've always been able to throw me. So, I mean, that wasn't a big new thing.
Yeah, but I don't need to do the jujitsu in order to throw you.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Someone's going to get hurt real bad.
Yes, exactly. Or real good, depending on how you look at it.
Some people dig that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Klingons
say my safe word. Say the safe word.
You know what the Klingons say? If you don't break a clavicle on your wedding night, you're not doing it right.
Yep. Saturday. What's going on Saturday?
Which channel is it? Is it yours?
Big Al's. We just did Deadpool.
Big Al's. Oh, that's right.
I'm sorry, not
because
Daredevil.
Because yes, this Saturday, special guest on Big Al Presents, Evelyn Hampton, who is here with us tonight. We will be watching Gorgo, the I guess British kaiju that she's been after us to watch for many years, and now we will finally see on Saturday. That is on Big Al Presents, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Sunday, of course, is all deleted scenes all the time.
Except for at 8 p.m. Central. No.
8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. On Age of Boomers channel, Geeky Geezers, where we will be talking about another lawsuit that was just filed today against Disney.
Shh, spoilers.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing about a
looking
weekly
good.
news show. It's not news by the time it gets to Sunday. It's olds.
And they'll talk about, did anyone die this week?
And unfortunately, yes,
Yep.
yes, they did. Actually, we're going to have a couple of in memoriams on
See,
Sunday.
you guys got to stop doing that part because people keep dying just so you can talk about
People are
them.
going to keep dying whether we talk about them or not. I think they just deserve the kind words from us. And that is on Sunday.
Monday, nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Yeah, I didn't take the time to get my stream together, but probably the following Monday, I'm going to be starting Monday night at the movies with Last Call. Don't know what the movie is yet. I have asked on my community tab, my Discord.
I answered that.
Yes, I know you did. I'm going to take all of those this week, this weekend probably, put them in a, what's it called? People
Bucket.
vote on it type thing. Yeah. And ask people to
Write a
Yeah,
piece of
just
paper,
remove
put in
the
your
Debbie
hat.
West Dallas
I could
one
do it
because,
that way,
we're
too.
not going to show
Oh,
that.
those were great.
yes.
That's a trilogy I can get behind.
Exactly right. I have seriously considered doing a watch party of like what do you call it? Like edited version of the Star Trek Next Generation porn parody. Because honestly,
Oh my gosh.
seriously, you take the sex out, it's actually a good episode of Star Trek. It's
Oh my
like these
gosh.
people in the porn industry like know Star Trek better than the people doing Star Trek now. It's amazing. Yeah. So we'll come up with something good for a week from Monday. For
And
Monday
I
night.
figure, chat, if you haven't laughed at least once during the stream,
You probably
what's wrong
fell
with you?
asleep. Big Al may not have laughed at all because I
They're
think
like, oh god, he has a Canadian on.
yeah,
They're
well,
desperate. They're getting desperate now.
they could
Look,
laugh about that.
Technically,
Look at the Canadian.
Yeah.
technically, there are two Canadians here because
That's right.
on my father's side, I'm French Canadian.
That's right.
Oh,
Her
check
dad was
you
French.
out.
I
Canadian.
don't know what
Yeah.
part of Canada he's from, but
That's probably my end.
it's the French
neck
part.
Of the woods. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the relatives are from Quebec.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Hey.
Tuesday.
Tuesday night, live from Sparkwood and 21,
Back on
7:30
deleted
Central.
scenes.
Yep, back to deleted.
Big
Scenes.
Al.
Man never sleeps.
I woke up and heard
Big Al said he just woke up. I just woke up and I
Porn
heard
one.
the phrase Star Trek porn.
I was like,
Porn,
Wait,
what?
porn, what? Star Trek porn? Well, yes.
selective retention right there. Oh,
That, you know what, we may
Now all the guys are awake.
I'm serious. There will come a night on Monday night at the movies on Last Call.
Watch your words now.
We will be watching the edited family friendly version. I can't believe I'm actually saying this of the Star Trek porn parody.
Jessica Hardo
We'll
said,
set our phasers to stun.
yeah.
Yes,
There's a difference
exactly.
between stun and kill. That's not to confuse the two. Jessica Hardo says, I'm often mistaken for a Canadian.
Well, there you go. I don't know what makes someone look like a Canadian, but okay. The
Star
next
Trek.
penetration. No, not that one.
Star Trek.
The later one. It's the triple. It's literally called Triple X porn parody.
Oh,
That
as long
was
as it's not
awesome.
Lesbian Spank Inferno.
I've looked. It's not real. There is no lesbian spank inferno. It's just a joke, unfortunately.
It is a.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, there's a show called Coupling. It's a British comedy, and one of the episodes, one of the main characters, his name is Steve. He was talking to his friends, and they're saying, "Yeah, when Susan was over, she decided to clean my flat, and she came across one of my videos." And one fellow goes, "Which one?" I'm sorry, Jeff says, "Which one?" He goes, "Inferno." And his friend Patrick goes, "Well, you can't tell anything from that title." He goes, "That's not the whole title."
No, he goes, in fairness, Inferno is not the complete title. Well, what is? It cuts to the women, and one of them is saying, lesbian spank Inferno? Because his girlfriend is telling the other friends about it. And the whole episode is about him having this film and her knowing about it and both sets of friends talking about it.
Yeah.
And it all comes to a head at the end. And
because it's like, then the guys are like, well, do you think she watched any of it to know what it might be? It's like, I think the title kind of infers.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Anyway,
so Tuesday, where it's
that just brings
21.
us to next week.
So
Thursday.
next week, here on Thursday Things, we will be having a guest that we've had to reschedule a couple times just because of logistics and things that have been happening. But finally, we will be having Jedi Bill. Right here on Thursday Things.
Jedi Bill.
So make sure that you tune in for that. And I do have the stream post already, so you can hit that notifications bell.
Yes, you can.
It's like I bugged my art director. I'm like, can I get next week so that I have it and I can start promoting it?
Yeah, sorry about that. I apologize.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like my art director has been very busy, so it's like, yeah, we try to get them up as soon as I can. I've given a list of all my future guests so that when he has an actual minute,
her retro cinemas are planned out for almost the whole rest of the year. So.
Yes, and I've got most of those thumbnails already up, and you can see those streams. I think there's like one or two I have to rearrange because I've gotten films that have to go somewhere in the D's that we've gotten, like Drop Dead Fred. I have to figure out where I'm going to put that and kind of
just
insert that
squeeze it
into
in.
it.
Might not be in perfect alphabetical order. I don't think nobody's going to notice or care.
But it's like, because I am still going alphabetically as much as I can.
What's great about these watches is some of them are movies that everyone's like, oh gosh, I love that movie. Yeah, let's watch it. Sometimes it's, I've never seen this movie before. And this is an opportunity for you to see it. So.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple that Big Al has shown that's like, I've never seen that. It's like, oh, this is a really good movie. Another one's like, okay, yeah, that was okay. Yeah. And then there are some movies that we've inherited that I may not have seen. I'll ask Troy going, should we show this one? Should we not show this one? And Troy might know and go, oh, yeah, you got to show that one.
Or like, sometimes I'll be like, no, don't. No, don't.
Yeah. So there's a couple in the alphabetical order that I have skipped over because
she was getting into the E's and she shows me one and I'm like, oh. Yeah, no, that's probably no. That's a Zalman King film. Probably not.
And I'm like, who's Zalman King? I don't know who this guy is. So I was like, so he had to explain to me.
The Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah, why it wasn't appropriate. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not showing that one.
Probably not. That's like NC-17.
Well, that's the thing when you do things like that, you're exposing people to movies that they would never watch, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly
by themselves. And next thing
we've done like
wow, what a good movie.
We've done some kids movies, and people will be like, I never would have thought, and it's a good movie, and it's like, oh, I never would have thought to see that movie.
As y'all know, I am a grown ass adult. I love VeggieTales.
Yeah,
it's like friends of ours years ago when their kids were still younger. I mean, now they're in their. Are they like in their 20s?
They're getting close to 30s now.
So when their kids were like maybe 8-ish or so, 8-9 years old, we were over at their house and VeggieTales they had an episode of VeggieTales playing.
Videotapes. Yeah. VHS back then.
And it's like, we're showing our age.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah. What is this? They're like, oh, it's VeggieTales. And then they gave me a couple of the VHSs so I could watch them. And then so I borrowed like 4 of them, watched them, brought them back, got 4 more. And then I just started buying them myself because I was so fascinated with VeggieTales because it's the story of the Bible.
Yeah, Samuel Proctor. Yeah, VeggieTales was my childhood. Every Sunday I had it on VHS. Yeah.
And it's like, I just love the way that they related the Bible to children.
Well, and then they had stuff that wasn't particularly Bible related, like Silly Songs with Larry.
Yeah. But it's like they would have lessons on sharing and, like where's God when I'm afraid and that sort of thing. And they had fun songs in there to, you can actually sing along with them because after a while you just simply know the songs, no, it's called Where's God When I'm Scared. That's what it was called. And, I've got pretty much every VeggieTales episode out there. Yep. And it's like when they transition to DVDs, I started getting
all the DVDs.
And, so I've got like the VeggieTale movies. So like the pirate movie and things like that.
I was going to say something you could get for your kids. Oh, no, they're 18 and 21. Never mind.
I still like that. I'm a lot older than that. But it's like, yeah, all these different films that it's just like, I just think this is fun to watch.
Well,
Let's put
you're
it
gonna
in.
have grandkids soon, right?
Yeah.
Oh
I
no, I'm in
also-
no rush for that.
Yeah.
So we can start calling you Gramps.
We've even had foreign films. Like we watched Cinema Paradiso.
Cinema Paradiso.
And I'm going to be having when I get to
Masks.
M, I'm sorry, yeah, when I get to K rather, King of Masks, and when I get to I, Il Postino.
Il Postino.
So we get an Italian film, we get an Asian film,
Madonna.
we get an Italian film,
Exactly.
another Italian film. So
You did it too. You did it too. You clipped it. Maron. It's
Madonna.
short for Madonna.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so see,
Come parlare italiano tu la sera.
See, okay, so Italians clip their Canadians clip their Italian too. Okay.
Yeah.
Jessica Harder said, I remember showing my friend the first Land Before Time movie. And she
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Was good. After that,
There was. I saw I was laughing. I shouldn't have been laughing. It's not nice, but I was laughing because somebody did a Twitter stream, not a Twitter thread. Childhood movie that made you cry, and I was seeing Bambi, Land Before Time. What was Lion King? It's like, well, it's like every childhood cartoon, somebody's parent dies.
Yeah.
How did these characters not grow up to be Batman?
Yeah, mine was E.T. E.T. and the Transformers movie.
The Transformers movie, Optimus Prime.
Prime.
I was just old enough that I was kind of okay, whatever. But I hear a lot of people talk about either I was traumatized when Optimus Prime died, or I showed this to my daughter and she started crying.
Okay, I never saw the movie, so that was spoilers.
Well, exactly.
It's like, really? Optimus Prime dies? It's
yeah.
You just ruined the whole movie for me.
Well, don't worry. They end up resurrecting him later on.
Of course they do.
I mean, so
it's like no
He's a robot.
And then they rebooted it with Michael Bay and all the explosions. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Samuel Proctor. When you can translate, sweetie. The length of my knowledge of Italian is, and you have to pronounce it because
rest in peace, bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but pronounce it in Italiano.
Requince in pace bastardo. Bastardo.
Yeah, I only know the pace part because our last name is Pacelli. And was it your great uncle or something was Pope Pius XII? So Eugenio
Pacelli,
the Pope of
Pius
Peace.
XII.
So pace.
Yeah. Little bit of controversy there. He was the Pope during World War II. That's for another stream.
Our relative was the Pope of Peace.
Anyway, see, I told you, when we're having fun, we sometimes go over the hour. It's an hour and a half tonight. So
it is what it is.
So what you got to do now is you got to go say thank you to your wife for us for loaning you out for as long as she has tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I got. I'm going to shut up now.
Well, until I ask you the next question. But
right.
So, to our guest, the Basco Senator.
Yes.
So now I'm doing it with an Italian
See, now you're
accent.
saying it with Italian accent.
Hey, you Basco Senator. Next time you come here.
Also want a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
During this 2-day meeting thing, we had some of our co-workers that are from England come in. And I'm sitting at the table with them, and
her mom's English, so she's like, starting to.
One of them is English, one was Irish, and one of his name is one of the guys I was talking to. His name is Faisal. Really nice guys. I mean, everybody in our company is really nice. But Faisal's like, I haven't seen you yet, and he gets up, gives me a big hug. I'm like, hi Faisal, how you doing? I haven't seen you, since like the last conference we had, and da da da. And he goes, oh, the Scottish accent's coming out.
last night. Bring the haggis.
It's like my mother's from
Can't in the United States. I just did a stream about how haggis is illegal in the United States.
Oh,
well, the whole stream wasn't about that, but I did mention it.
My mother is from Lancashire, England, or I should say was, bless her soul. But my grandfather's Scottish, my grandmother is Welsh, and some relatives along the way through marriage are Irish. So the accent comes out.
She's like all UK all the time.
Yes, I'm everything. So I like just.
It's the bloody queen.
Yeah. Food. But it's like the Scottish accent was coming out.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what. That's the funny thing. You want good Italian food, you got to go to an Italian house, because if you go to those restaurants, they give you egg noodles and ketchup. That ain't even a joke.
Nona always knows how to cook.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's right. I learned everything I did from my Nana.
Yes. Yeah. So now, the Basco scenario. Any final words?
I was about to say like what.
That's what he was gonna say.
No, thanks for having me on. Seriously, it was great interacting with the chat too. And it's like I said, I like going on different people's channels and talking about different things, because it's fun. It's fun. That's how you get to know people.
Exactly.
And storytelling, right? This is before anything was written. Stories were passed down by communication and talking to each other. So by talking to each other, we understand each other, and that is fun. And agree to disagree and move on. But I seriously had fun, man. I can continue going on 1 hour and 36 minutes in, and it's so much fun. So, but thanks for having me. Seriously,
it's like a couple months. I'll have you back.
Again. We'll do it again in about 6 months. There you go.
Oh,
6 months. Canadians in small doses. Small doses.
Well, maybe we have you back next time. We'll talk food. You tell us about, what is that potato dish with the cheese? The
poutine.
Poutine, yeah. You tell us about that. Right.
Yeah. Or we can talk about prosciutto. We can talk about prosciutto. Capico.
We'll
just talk Italian food. Huh?
Exactly. Gnocchi. Yeah, absolutely.
Gnocchi. Yeah. Pollo, Parmesan chicken.
Oh God! Now you're making me hungry. Shut up. What were you gonna say?
Now I'm thinking Metatron with Lamborghini.
Oh yeah, there's another YouTuber. You ever seen the Metatron?
No.
He's a YouTuber from Italy. Obviously, Italian's his first language, but he's a polyglot. He speaks a bunch of languages. And one of his shows, he was talking about how frustrated he is with some of the popular channels that teach you how to pronounce. You're trying to learn a language. Right. Here's a word, here you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know where this guy learned Italian. That's not how you pronounce it. And then he's getting frustrated because, of course, just like everyone, if you want to speak Italian, it's a Lamborghini, and it's and he's doing with the hands, and he's like being all stereotypical, and the spaghetti, and it's like I'm sitting here laughing so hard, I got tears coming down my eyes because I know exactly what he's talking about, and here I am doing the thing with my hands. You can't even see me, and you know what exactly.
It's like, okay, I've been married to this Italian for 31 years. This year will be 32 when come August.
Yeah,
so
congratulations.
You've been blessed.
Yeah.
And I cannot talk now without using my hands.
Yep. She picked that up from me. Yeah.
So it's like I use my, it's like
you gotta
if you want to silence an Italian,
hold his hands down.
Yeah. The Italians go like this.
Yeah.
And the Hindus go, you want to eat?
Well, and the Italians will go, see. I could eat.
So just to say thank you in Euskera, which is Basque, it's Cariasco.
Cariasco. Grazie. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Grazie.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your final words?
My final words. I this is why we do it, for exactly all the reasons you were just saying. We love to bring people in, get to know them, hang out with them, laugh. Usually laugh, and it's an excuse to talk to the people that we see typing in the chat all the time. It's great. Let's pull you in. Let's chit chat.
They're coming for you.
Did I ever tell you have the laugh of Sheriff Woody?
Is that from Toy Story?
Is that? No.
I got a snake in my boot. Oh.
Sheriff Woody. I don't know who that is.
That's the Toy Story.
I guess. I don't know.
He was a sheriff. Yeah, he was a sheriff. Yeah, he was a sheriff.
Does he have a notable laugh? Look, I'll tell you something.
Isn't it Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
It is.
What I've always been told, I have one friend who has often said, if he could bottle my laugh, he would make a fortune. I love to laugh long and loud and
Say,
Okay.
say,
Look
say
up
what
it says. Say, Buzz, look, an alien, and then do the laugh.
Buzz, look, an alien. Okay.
That's pretty close, actually.
Yeah,
I actually have I've seen the show, like the movie, once or twice.
I think people should hire Troy for comedy shows just to sit in the audience and crack.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely. I've
Oh
actually
my
had
God.
that happen to me at comedy shows and whatnot. Be like, this guy, I got to start paying him. He's just great. Well, yeah. I mean, because it's like most comedians will tell you, it's like, damn. Usually, I have to deal with hecklers, and you got to be on your toes. This guy, he makes it easy. I just say, and I do. He's like, see, I got to pay this guy now.
And of course,
Yes.
my last words.
Yes.
As I always start off, please make sure that you are a sub to every member of the panel. And please make sure that you are a sub to every member of the chat. And if you think you're subscribed, please go back and double check, because YouTube sucks and likes to take away our subscription or our subscribers. And of course, we value every single one of you, so we want to keep you.
Yep.
Also, make sure that if you haven't already, give this stream a thumbs up. And if you're listening to this in the future, please drop a comment so that I know you're here and I can say hi back. And with that said, we can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well good and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And Troy's mouthing my ending as I'm going along, because I've said it so many times, he knows it now.
Yep.
But it's like, I am being totally sincere when I say this every single time. You guys are not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. You can be anywhere right now, and you chose to be here, and that's so encouraging. I just love seeing you guys in the chat every week, talking to yourself, amongst yourselves, talking, dropping comments for us. It's such a great time. Like I said, it feels like we're all in the same room, just hanging out together. That's how it feels with us. And I just really appreciate you being here. I appreciate just how much you encourage all of us. Not, like I said, not just everyone in the chat, but, me and Troy, our guests. It's just so fantastic. So thank you for being here. And I'm going to go into a loop now if I don't change how I'm saying this. But it's like, you guys are just really wonderful. I do appreciate you so very much. We'll definitely see you next time. So have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will see you tomorrow on Troy's channel. But until then, God bless and good night.
Adios, muchachos.